So I'm going along installing these ribs. I have them all laid out up on the top of the gunnel here. And there's 14 inches in between them. They're 15 inches on center. So I'm just squaring them up the side of the boat, and I'm going to be putting a screw. Before I epoxied this, I marked off a line where all these screws were going into that spray rail, and so I'm just matching that up. I'm going to put that screw right into where that spray rail is. So I just come to the center of the rib. Oh, missing a step. Need a little countersink there. So once again, I'm just prepping these, and then I'll take them off and glue behind them. Oh, right on top of a screw head. Oh, look at that. It couldn't be any more in the center. I actually tried to lay out these screw heads so they would not, I wouldn't have this problem, but I didn't know exact spacing of my ribs at the time. I took a guess. It'd be 16 inches. Oh no, I hope the spray rail doesn't fall off. Alright, let's see what I can do. It's going to go right in that same hole. Might not even grab anything. I have to refill that. Lifted it a little bit. Perfect. I have all these ribs in their location with one screw in them. Next step, I'm going to mark all the tops, and I'm going to number these. And then I'm going to take them off, cut them, and then glue them in place. Okay, you saw me mark these height on all the ribs. Now I'm going to cut those using my table saw. And this is the most accurate way to do it right here. I take this piece of wood, screw it right to this miter guide. now I'm going to line my line up right at the end of the stock there. Mixing up some epoxy. Gonna roll out these ribs before I install them. That way it'll be easier to sand them. So I'm gonna roll them out, let them dry. Tomorrow I'll give them a sand, and then I'll install them after that. I just put 12 pumps of each on the 2-to-1 epoxy. That's right there. I'm going to dump this on the pan. Hopefully that'll be the right amount to roll these out. Well, I'm ready to glue those ribs in. Instead of mixing epoxy and thickening up, this time I'm going to use a thick sew product, which is thickened epoxy in a caulking tube. There's 2 parts in there, and they mix together as they come out the nozzle there. So the nozzles do harden up. If you leave it in there, you got to change the nozzles out. But this is good for putting epoxy in a little accurate spot. So you do got to pump it a few times and get rid of a little bit as it mixes up. It's not perfect as it comes out, the ratio. So you just squirt it out an inch or two. And then you're good to go. I'll take care of that. That's probably good right there. I just read the side of the tube to see how long the working time was on this. It really says depend on the temperature. And it said the first 3 or 4 inches that you squirt out are waste, consider waste. So I squirted a little more out. Alright, let's take my best guess, and I want enough that it squeezes out, but not too much cleanup. So this will be my first attempt. If there's too much squeeze out, I'll use less. If there's not enough, I'll use more. About good. So you can see I'm not using much fasteners at all, relying on this glue, epoxy, for a lifetime of adhesion. I'll be throwing a clamp up on the top. Let me do that right now. Or I could try tape. Let's experiment with this. With epoxy, you don't want to clamp things too much pressure, because you don't want to squeeze all the epoxy out. You want to leave that in there for all your strength. So like a press fit is your best, in my opinion, or what I'm told. Looks like I got about the right amount on there. We'll get to see how far a tube goes. So I got half the boat done, and this is not empty yet. The cleaning up the glue takes longer than putting the ribs in. To help, I took my little plastic spatula and cut the 45, and that seems to be working good. Jam that in the corner, draw it up and down, clean up the glue. So, I gotta tackle the other side. Port side next. Let's go. So I just finished the port side. All the ribs are in, all 24. That epoxy was a very long working time. It never gelled up on me at all. And I used about a tube and a half. Let me just show you what kind of caulking gun to use if you can. This dripless model makes a big difference, because a professional painter gave me that caulking gun and it looks like it. But when you release the trigger, it does not continue to flow out. And that's a huge advantage. And that's my little spatula that I cut to a point, and it fit in the corners great for clean out. So cut that with the utility knife, because the clean out took longer than the whole process. But then again, you don't want to sand glue. So the ribs are complete. Next time we're going to get going on the seats. Thanks for watching.